What is going on? Welcome to another TubeBuddy live stream. My name is Nick. If this is your first time being introduced to TubeBuddy, if you happen to be watching this on the replay, I want to let you know that today we're talking about foolish mistakes that new YouTubers make. So that's what it is that we're going to be talking about today. So if you are a new YouTuber, this stream is for you. I also want to let you know, if you are not familiar with TubeBuddy and what TubeBuddy is and how TubeBuddy can help you grow your YouTube channel, TubeBuddy is a browser plugin that you can install and try for free. It's a browser plugin for YouTube content creators. It's the #1 browser plugin for YouTube content creators. As a matter of fact, it can help you grow your channel by helping you come up with video ideas and topics that people are actively looking for and that people are actually interested in. It can also help you test your thumbnails so that you can make sure that you're making effective thumbnails, and it can also do a bunch of other things in terms of channel management and things like that as well. So if you haven't installed TubeBuddy yet, you can install it free at tubebuddy.com/install. Now, one more thing I just want to say really quick before we get started. What is up, everybody hanging out in the chat right now? Nice to see you here. Nice to have you hanging out in the stream today. Going to be dropping some really awesome information on you guys today. And I'm not just talking about YouTube mistakes, because it's easy to just say this is what you're doing wrong, but I'm also going to talk to you about how you can actually take what it is that you may be doing wrong or that you may not be doing enough of, and how you can turn that around and exactly what it is that you need to do in order to get what it is that you want on YouTube, which of course is views and subscribers and all of the stuff that comes along with having views and subscribers on YouTube. I also want to say that today, my brother D, for those of you that are familiar with D, he crossed 80,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. So when you get a chance, just head over to D's channel as well and just give him a quick congratulations. High five, fist bump to D for crossing that 80,000 subscriber milestone. Whoop, whoop. All right. So with all of that out of the way, let's talk about the YouTube mistakes, the things that you might be doing wrong as a new content creator on YouTube. So if you've been on YouTube, let's be honest, some people, even if they've been on YouTube for a while, they're doing this stuff as well. So even if you've been on YouTube for a while, you should also pay attention to what it is that we're going to be talking about today, because some of this might even apply to you, because I've seen veterans do some of this stuff. So basically, the very first thing that you want to be mindful of when you are on YouTube in terms of one of the mistakes that you could be doing is, of course, trying to be, what's up, Rob? Trying to be somebody that you are not. And the reason that I'm saying this one first is because a lot of content creators, especially when they are first getting started, a lot of content creators, they will face this challenge. I actually am, the reason I actually put this one up, I was actually inspired to have this one first because I was on Reddit and I saw a post in our YouTube community on Reddit. And in that YouTube community, one of the people in there, they said, hey, should I change my channel name? Because it was this outrageous channel name about them being like hardcore or whatever it was. And they're like, it doesn't really match my personality, but I thought that that would be something that would bring people in. And that made me think, hey, there's a lot of content creators out there that are basically trying to have these personas, but it's not really who they actually are. Now, when it comes to, YouTube, of course, there is like an entertainment factor that you can add to it to where you kind of amp everything up a little bit, kind of like I'm doing right now, to where you kind of amp everything up a little bit just for the sake of making it a little bit more exciting. But then there's also the side to where it's like, it's still me in terms of, the way that I'm doing what it is that I do. And if you were to ever meet me in real life, and for the people that have, that happen to be in the chat right now, you can vouch for this. I'm the same dude on camera as I am in real life. And I recommend that you do the same exact thing, because when you're trying to be somebody that you're not on YouTube, and you're trying to be this big creator that you look up to, or that you see as getting results on YouTube, then what you're doing is you're removing one of the most important elements of being a YouTuber, which is the connectability of you. And what I mean by that is, there's going to be people that are going to watch your YouTube channel, and they're going to come in and they're going to see your stuff, and they're going to enjoy the content itself. Without question, they're going to enjoy the content itself. But then there's also going to be people that are also going to enjoy how you do that content. They're going to like the nuances of your personality. So when you're on YouTube and you're first starting out, especially, it's really important to make sure that you try to be as authentic as you possibly can when it comes to being you. When it comes to being yourself and putting you into what it is that you're doing, instead of trying to be PewDiePie, instead of trying to be Mr. Beast, instead of trying to be whoever it is that you happen to look up to. And here's the thing. even if your personality is more chill, and even if your personality, like your energy level is like down here, and you're just like, hey, I'm just like a serious person and I just communicate, kind of down here, that's okay. That's perfectly okay. There's plenty of content creators out there that also do that, and they're perfectly fine. They get tons of followers, tons of people dig their stuff because they connect with other people that are also, kind of like that as well. So because of that, it's really, really important to make sure that you are being as much of you as you possibly can, instead of trying to do exactly what it is that you see personality-wise other content creators doing. And I'll see this a lot in the gaming community, to where while somebody's playing the game, they're sitting there and they're playing the game and they're just doing them, and you get to see them just for a little bit. And then they remember, oh, the camera's on, and then they'll act up, right? Then they'll act up, and then they'll start, maybe using some language that they don't normally use or they don't use as much, or they'll start doing outrageous things because they think that it'll get a response from people instead of just being them, right? Or maybe an amplified version of themselves instead of trying to be a creator that they enjoy on the platform. The next thing, let me wrap that one up with a do you, right? That's what I have in my note right here. It's like, do you, right? Just make sure that you are doing you, because you are that version of yourself that nobody else can ever be. People, like if you start doing, when you start doing well on YouTube, people are going to copy your thumbnails. People are going to copy your video style. They're going to try to copy everything about what it is that you're doing once you start getting results, or if you're already getting results. There's people out there that are trying to copy you right now. But the one thing that people cannot copy is the personality, right? It's the stuff that makes you you. You can't copy that. People can imitate it, but they can't copy it, and it'll come through that they're imitating. The next thing is not planning out your content. So as content creators, and I get this, right? I totally get it. But as content creators, a lot of people will just be like, oh gosh, it's Tuesday. I got to publish a video today. Well, what can I make real quick to make sure that I get a video out today? It's important that you think about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, that you plan your content, that you give purpose to every single video that you put out on YouTube. Because when you give a video purpose, you know what that video is for, right? When you give a video purpose, you know the goal that video is trying to accomplish. So as an example, as you get really good at making YouTube videos, you're going to notice when I make videos about this, or when I make videos that are kind of like this, people really respond to these in terms of they click on the thumbnails more and they click on the titles more when I talk about these types of topics, or I do these types of parodies, or I talk about these types of movies if you're doing movie reviews, or I make these types of songs if you're making music. You're also going to notice that when you make videos about other things, that people don't respond as much, right? So what you should do, and that comes to, view counts or subscriber counts, whatever it is that you are personally tracking for each video, over time, you're going to really get familiar with what it is that people respond to for different reasons on your channel. So because of that, that was a yawn. It's really important to make sure. It was actually kind of like a weird throat thing. Gunnar Hosh was like, was that a yawn? It wasn't a yawn. It was just kind of like a weird throat thing that happened. I'm not sure what was going on there. But basically, you want to make sure that you are planning out your content, because when you plan out your content, then you can give yourself the opportunity to make sure that you're moving things forward in the way that makes the most sense to you based on what it is that you're trying to accomplish on YouTube. Now, you might be thinking, hey, Nick, I don't know what I want to accomplish on YouTube. That's the next mistake. Not knowing what it is that you want out of the efforts that you're putting into your YouTube channel. So as content creators, a lot of people come onto YouTube because they are just creative people, or they just want to do YouTube, or they think, hey, this would be great if I could turn this into something, but they don't really know what it is really that they're wanting out of YouTube. So because of that, they're looking at the wrong things. So we had a live stream last weekend on my channel. It was last Saturday. Every Saturday we do it. But basically, during that live stream, we were talking about, goals and things like that. And when you are approaching YouTube without having any idea what it is that you are actually after, then what you're doing is you're actually kind of hindering yourself from getting to anything, because you don't know what it is that you should even be tracking in the first place. Like if you're just trying to get views, why are you trying to get views? If you're trying to get subscribers, why are you trying to get subscribers? And just growing your channel, that's not, I mean, that is a reason, but try to go deeper when you're trying to think like, why is it important to me that I get a lot of subscribers on my YouTube channel? If it's money, why is it important to me to make money from my YouTube channel, right? Like why is it that I'm wanting to accomplish these things, and start getting really clear with what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And the reason this is important is because let's say that your goal is to get like X amount of subscribers, and you know exactly why you are after that amount of subscribers. Then what you can say is, well, I want X amount of subscribers because it will provide me the social proof or the validation or whatever it happens to be in order to give me the confidence to do X, Y, Z, or, you know, whatever it happens to be. When you know that's exactly why it is that you are going after those things, and you know that that is the thing that you're going after, then all of the other things that happen to you as you're growing your YouTube channel, and all the other things that you can get distracted by, will start falling by the wayside to where you can just laser focus on what it is that you're actually wanting out of your YouTube channel, and driving towards the things that take you a step closer to getting what it is that you want out of your YouTube channel. So as an example, right now, a lot of people are in a situation because of the things that are happening in the world right now. A lot of people are inside. And since a lot of people are inside, people are thinking, hey, this would be a great time to actually put some more effort into YouTube, because maybe the job is gone, or maybe you're looking at it like, wow, it'd be really easy for my job to be gone, or something like that. And you're looking at YouTube or just working online in general as like a possibility. If that's the situation, and you are trying to have that goal, or not trying, you have that goal of, hey, I'm actually going to try to give this YouTube thing a shot, then in that situation, literally write down a dollar amount. What does it mean for me to actually be able to go full time? What does that cost for me to go full time? What amount of income would I need to generate off of YouTube in order to go full time with this? Because as soon as you define that, as soon as you put a number to it, then one, it makes it a little bit more real in terms of the possibility, because you can start breaking down in a bunch of different ways, all the different ways that you could meet that number. So what you want to do is you want to say, okay, if this is what I'm trying to accomplish, if I'm trying to turn this into something, let's say that it is, money, then you can say, okay, well, I'm going to go into my videos, and I'm going to go look and see on the ad revenue side, which videos are driving the most ad revenue. I'm also going to look at things that maybe I promote as an affiliate. I'm going to start writing down all of the different people that I could reach out to for potential sponsorships or just brand relationships in general, so that you can start, trying to walk down those avenues that will ultimately get you into that position to where you can be full-time off of what it is that you're doing on YouTube. Same exact thing goes to, hey, if you are trying to, if you have like a skill set and you can promote that skill set as your way to earn a living. Let's say you're a web developer and you're like, hey, I just want to get in front of people that need websites. Then you make the content that will get you in front of the people that gives you a steady stream of income, so that you can work as a freelancer building websites, as an example. But you got to know what it is that you want, so that you can make the content decisions and the business decisions around your channel that will move you into whatever thing it is that you are trying to get out of your YouTube channel. Now, the next thing is, a lot of content creators, especially new content creators, they put this big wall in front of themselves. And that big wall that they put in front of themselves goes something like this. Well, I'm just going to put out videos, and I'm just going to kind of see how things go. And maybe once my channel gets big, then I'll start taking things more serious. That's a mistake. And the reason that that's a mistake is, let me back up a little bit. That's a mistake in terms of just kind of winging it, right? Making a few different YouTube channels, putting out content on those channels, seeing which one takes off, see which one does better, see which one you enjoy, see which ones you enjoy more, and experimenting in that way, that makes total sense. That's not a mistake. But saying that, hey, this is the path that I want to walk, but I'm not actually going to start taking that path seriously until I get X amount of views per video or X amount of subscribers on my channel, or whatever it happens to be, that in your mind would position you as a big YouTuber. It's important that if you want to be a content creator, a professional content creator, or just have a big YouTube channel, it's important that you start handling yourself now, and you start doing the things now that a big YouTuber does, right? Whatever a big YouTuber means to you, do the things now. Start doing the things now that are what a big YouTuber does. what that looks like is consistency on your YouTube channel, trying to network with other content creators that are doing what it is that you're doing, being active in the communities around what it is that you make videos about, taking your stats seriously, trying to make the best possible videos that you can with the skill sets and the equipment that you currently have, which we're going to be talking about here in a second also. But the thing is you want to actually go ahead and be in that role of managing everything that you're doing around your YouTube channel like you're already a big content creator. And that comes all the way back to how you even present yourself on camera. If you're doing talking head videos, if you're doing entertainment videos, like whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're doing like a music channel and Josephine talking to you, even if you're doing like a music channel, sitting back and saying, what are some of these other like big YouTube channels doing when it comes to the music? Well, it probably comes down to they are spending a lot of time writing that awesome song and then making a music video that's awesome that they can possibly run ads for, or that they can possibly share around in order to get some, a little bit of traction on it. But they're putting in tons of effort and making sure that the product that they put out there, the songs that they put out there, that the videos that they put out there on YouTube are high level for the sake of, if I'm putting out high level content, and it doesn't have to be perfect, don't get me wrong. It just has to be at that high level that you see on all of the bigger YouTube channels in terms of people that are putting music out there, right? Like you have to look at that. Even if you're a gamer, same exact thing applies. Look at those channels and say, okay, how are they managing their channel? How are they interacting with their communities? How are they putting their thumbnails and their titles together? How are they editing their videos? Do I need to spend more time? Do I need to spend more time learning how to edit my videos? Do I need to spend more time learning how to make thumbnails? Do I need to spend more time at this game so I can get better at this game so that I can compete with some of these larger channels, right? So I can compete with my skill sets with some of these larger channels. So whatever type of content that you make, it's really important to make sure that you start walking that walk, because the sooner that you start walking that walk, the easier it's going to be for you on the confidence side of things to be able to present yourself in a way to where other people very quickly are going to start seeing you as that bigger content creator. I have a video that I made, I think when I made like 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, where I talked about this same exact thing. And for me personally, because right now, if you're not familiar with my content, right now I've got I'm like 520 something thousand subscribers on my channel, but at 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, I was already handling myself like a professional content creator, right? All the videos that I was putting out on my channel, they were all, like I wouldn't let stuff go out on my channel that wasn't up to par in terms of the things that are important to me, in terms of me identifying, hey, successful channels do this. So therefore, if I want to be a successful channel, I need to do this, right? So I suggest that you do the same in terms of making sure that you are, if you want to be a big YouTuber and you want to have success on YouTube, that you start applying yourself like you are already a big YouTuber. And the reason for that, again, is just so that you can go ahead and start walking that walk, which then will help you do the things that you need to do in order to make it possible for you to be a bigger channel quicker. The next thing is that a lot of new YouTube content creators, they don't dedicate much time to skill development. And what I mean by that is, as we all know, making videos, it's a skill. It's an art, it's a skill. Thumbnails, art, skill. Titles, art, skill. Presentation, art, skill. Research, skill, right? And a little bit of an art as well. So what new content creators and all content creators need to do, self included, always working on self-development in that area as well. What new content creators need to do is they need to make sure that they are focusing on building their skill sets, because that's one of the things that successful YouTube channels do, is they're working on, okay, how do I make this better? How do I make this better? How do I make this better? Hey, these things are good, but this definitely could use some improvement. How do I make it better? What do I have to learn in order to make this thing better? Do I need to learn how to process my audio using free or paid software? Do I need to learn how to edit my videos better? Do I need to learn what all this terminology is so that I can understand the videos that I'm watching better? Do I need to learn how to set up my audio or how to set up my lighting better? Like, what is it that you need to learn and start developing the skills so that you can start putting all that stuff together? Because here's the thing. When you are doing anything, and this applies to every human on earth, when you're doing anything, especially if you're new at it, there's stuff that people with experience see that you don't see. So as an example, if I were to sit down with like Andrew Can, for example, he would be able to show me things with a camera that I think I know pretty well. He would be able to show me things with a camera, most likely, as long as we're using the same camera. He'd be able to show me things with a camera that would be able to help me to take it up a notch, right? Because he can see that, hey, for example, like you might notice back here that my hue lights, depending on the frame rate that I'm using in some of my videos, that these hue lights back here will have like a little bit of a banding on them, which basically it's kind of like a rolling shutter thing that happens based on the frame rate, right? So experienced content creators, especially the filmmaker types that are like, you know, laser focused on that stuff because they just love filmmaking and they care so much about the color and how everything looks, they can look at my videos and they can see that in a split second. I didn't notice it until somebody brought it to my attention, right? So what I'm getting at is the more you get, or the better you get at developing those skill sets, the more you're going to see with your own content and with what it is that you're putting out there so that you can make it better, right? So you can notice, oh, this is messed up. I need to do this, or this isn't as good as I can do it. So I need to develop the skill in order to be able to do it better, right? Because with that experience is going to come being able to see things and understand things in a way that is different than, of course, when you are just starting out. Another thing that's important, of course, is not researching the topics that you're making videos about. What I mean by that is this. Regardless of the type of content that you're making, it's really important to take a look around YouTube at the very least. At the very base level, if you're not doing any advanced or extensive research on the topics that you're putting out, at the very base, look around YouTube for the content that you are planning on making before you make it. And the reason for that is because all of the videos that come up when you are looking around for the type of content that you're going to make, if they're being presented to you on the homepage, if they're coming up in search results and you're looking, if they're being suggested because you're looking for specific things, all of those videos, that's your competition. Those are the people that you are competing against when it comes to getting views on your YouTube channel from people on YouTube. Because basically what's going to happen is a homepage is going to load. Whatever it is that you make a video about, homepages all over YouTube are going to load up. Your video is going to get shown there. And your video is going to get shown there next to a bunch of other videos. Some of those people or some of those videos are going to be from experienced creators. Other videos are going to be from new creators like yourself. So what you need to do is you need to look around and see what's going on around the type of content that you make so that you can make sure that you can compete. And what I mean by that is look at their thumbnails, right? Look and see what they're doing. Can you make a thumbnail that is as good as theirs in terms of, it doesn't have to be as pretty. It just has to be something to where it's easy to understand and it's clear what it is that your video is about, okay? Your titles, look at their titles. Hey, this is a good title. They're getting crushed on views on this thing. This is a pretty good title. I wonder how my titles would compare next to this, right? How long are their videos? Because watch time is really important on YouTube. How long are their videos? If you're able to keep people watching for a fair amount of time, but you're making videos that are a quarter as long as all of the people that you're competing against, there's a chance that your videos aren't going to do as well as some of those videos are because they're able to accumulate more watch time so that they can get more watch time per impression, as long as, like, let's just say that their click-through rate was the same with the amount of impressions that they're getting, then they would be able to generate more watch time per impression than you, right? So it's really important to make sure that you're researching the content that you put out so that you can make sure that you are able to compete, because being able to compete, like, it doesn't matter what kind of content you make. Every time you publish a video, you're competing with other videos on YouTube. You're competing for that attention. So you have to be able to get that attention. Another thing is not taking the time to learn your gear, like how we were talking about with your gear, your software, any of that. Like how we were talking about with the banding that happens back here sometimes with the frame rate when I shoot on my Canon. Same exact thing applies there, right? So here's a story. To my own folly, I guess, is the thing that I'm looking for here. But basically, I had my YouTube channel for a while. I went and worked on another channel for a while, came back to my current YouTube channel, and I still, after like 100 and something videos, didn't realize, because to me, remember how I was saying before about the things that you can't see, like you don't know until you know? I had somebody go into my comment section, and they're like, hey, idiot, Straight up, this is what they said. Hey, idiot, you need to, if you're using Vegas, you need to desample, or you need to turn off your resampling. And I was like, wow, first off, they called me an idiot. So this isn't a good start to, to a conversation, right? So I'm looking bad here in this situation. So they're either trolling me or I'm really messing up. So let me start Googling around. Let's figure out what resampling is. Let me figure out what it is in Vegas. And then boom, I found out that I had screwed up like 100 and something videos on my channel because I was running everything off of a setting that I initially figured out on my channel that worked for like a nice handful of videos. And then when I switched cameras, then I screwed up tons and tons of videos because the frame rate was different. So since that frame rate was different, what happened is I would load it in as one frame rate, and then when it was rendered back out at the project setting frame rate, it was screwing everything up to where the motion was weird. So I was getting trailers. If I would move my head, they would be like a trail on my head. If I'd move my arms, they'd be these small little trails. And it looked horrible. But at the time, I couldn't even see it. I thought my videos looked good, right? So when it comes to, dialing in your actual equipment and your software and all of that stuff, it's really important to make sure that you are learning to use the gear that you have at your disposal as efficiently as you possibly can. Okay. And real quick, if you're enjoying this content so far, just give me a hashtag yes, just so I know that you are digging what it is that I'm talking about. Also, if you haven't yet, I would like to encourage you to share this out on Twitter as well, or Facebook, or wherever it is that you would like to share it. Get some more YouTubers in here to enjoy the information here. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Yes, frame rates are a pain sometime, Beanie. Next is trying to improve too many things at once. So basically, when it comes to trying to improve too many things at once, there's a ton of stuff that we can all do better when it comes to YouTube. And improving your skills and improving and doing all these things that I'm talking about is really important. But it's also important to make sure that you are not trying to do too much at one time to where it can be overwhelming. Because if you're trying to fix too many things at one time, it can get to a point to where it's like, man, I this is just too much. Right? Like, I don't even, like, how do I know what's working? How do I know if I'm actually, if I'm improving here, here, and here, how do I know that it's not this thing over here that's actually helping me move forward, right? So, of course, any improvements are good, but I recommend that if you're a new content creator and you're trying to pick up all this information, that you focus on just like a couple, 2 or 3 things that you're trying to improve on and get a deep understanding of at a time. And the reason for that is so that you can have a deep understanding of those things so that you can always apply them, why you're applying them, why they're important. And then you can move on to, the next 2 or 3 things that you're trying to work on until you get a good system of, continual improvement through all these little micro adjustments that you're making. Another thing that a lot of content creators do wrong is that they are waiting to get love from YouTube. And by love, I mean that, hey, YouTube isn't promoting my content is the language that everybody uses. But it's like, hey, YouTube is not promoting my content. Why is YouTube not promoting my content? The only reason that YouTube doesn't show your videos to people is because the videos themselves aren't getting a good response when they are shown to people. How YouTube works is really simple. They're trying to keep people on YouTube. They're trying to keep people watching videos, and they're trying to keep people coming back to YouTube. Okay. The reason for that is because the more time people spend on YouTube, the more ads they're going to get served unless they're a premium user. Also, the more they come back, the more ads that they're going to get served as long as they're not a premium user. So because of that, YouTube's goal is simply to keep people on platform, clicking on content, watching content for a longer period of time, seeing another video, clicking on that, watching it for a long period of time, clicking on more and more and more, watching longer and longer and longer. And what you need to do as a content creator is you need to make data-focused decisions, data-driven decisions by using your YouTube analytics to let you know how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. Because if you're not looking in your analytics, which is a mistake within itself, if you're not using the tools that YouTube gives you to have an understanding of how people are reacting or responding to the content that you're putting out onto YouTube, if you're not doing that, then you're just throwing everything out there and hoping that it's going to work out, when you could actually be putting out content that people aren't responding to, either at the click rate in terms of when your thumbnails and titles are displayed, people aren't clicking on them, or when they come in and they watch your videos, they're not watching for they're not watching for hardly any time at all. or they're not watching long enough, or your videos aren't long enough, or whatever, like I was talking about before in terms of researching the videos that you're putting out. But it's really important to make sure that you are making data-driven decisions when it comes to your YouTube channel, because YouTube isn't going to just all of a sudden turn on a switch and say, hey, everybody, go look at this, right? What YouTube cares about is making sure that the viewers on the platform, it's about the viewers. It's not about the creators. It's about the viewers. Making sure that the viewers on the platform, because they're the ones clicking on ads, they're the ones that are actually generating revenue for YouTube. Content creators are now too, with like super chats and stuff like that, but not at the scale that viewers are. So because of that, you have to make sure that YouTube is getting what it is that they want. And the only way that you're going to know if the content that you're putting out there is getting a response or not is by looking in your analytics and then trying to make adjustments based on what it is that you find in your analytics. Now, TubeBuddy has a handful of tools for this. They have the A/B testing for your thumbnails, right? Because that thumbnail and your title is the first impression. That's the first point of contact that people have with one of your videos, new or an old video. And then they also have the retention analyzer tool, but you can see this in your stats too. But they also have the retention analyzer tool, which is actually within the website. It's not in the actual plugin. You have to log into TubeBuddy.com in order to see it. But they have the retention analyzer as well, which will show you, hey, at all of these videos out of your last, it's like 25 or 50 videos. At the 1 minute mark, this is how many people you still have watching. At the 2 minute mark, at the 3 minute mark. So it just gives you like an overview of how good you are at keeping people watching your content for an extended period of time. Use that stuff, because if you can't get that data to bend in your favor, not bend, if you can't make content to where the data is in your favor, then YouTube isn't going to suddenly just start showing your content to people, because that doesn't help YouTube achieve the goal that they want, which is giving people a satisfactory experience when they're on the platform. So it's really, really important to make sure that you do that. And another thing on that note is experimentation. A huge mistake that a lot of content creators make is they don't experiment. So of course you always want to make sure that you're making content for a specific audience, for a specific person or group of people. So when you are making content for that specific person or group of people, it doesn't mean that you can only do one format, or it doesn't mean that you can only do one thing. As an example, if you look at my channel, even though people now know my channel is like a YouTube help channel, I also have live streaming stuff on there, which is doing great right now, by the way, with everybody being home. I've got mobile content on there as well. And then of course I have like my community hangouts and that sort of thing. But each one of those pieces of content, those are all things that are, experimental content. Me sharing YouTube help information, that was experimental, and people dug it, which then led me down a path based on, the algorithm following the audience and me listening to the audience and giving people what they want. That led me down a path to where people, now see my channel as like a YouTube help channel based on people responding to that content. So it's really important that you make sure that you're experimenting with what it is that you're doing, but still make sure that you're keeping that audience in mind, that specific type of viewer, or that specific group of people, or that specific person that you are trying to make content for. Now, we are going to get into the Q&A portion of what it is that we're doing. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, what I want you to do right now, right before I go into this next mistake, what I want you to do right now is go ahead and put your question in the form. It's in the description down below. And I'm going to be pulling questions from that form. I actually have to get it open here. I'm going to be pulling questions from that form here in just a minute, and I want to make sure that I answer your question. So if you have a question about what it is that you're doing, get it in that form now, because we're only going to have time for a certain amount, and I can answer these in the order that they come in. So if you have a question and you want it answered here live, make sure that you put it in the form that's down in the description below. So the next one that we have on this list for the mistakes is self-sabotaging. And what I mean by that is that self-sabotaging, it basically means, in a nutshell, when it comes to YouTube, thinking that you are not good enough. And since you think that you're not good enough for, like, hey, like, I'm not good enough to do this, or my skills aren't, up to par to do this, or whatever, after I just laid a whole bunch of mistakes on you, don't think that, you're not good enough, you don't deserve it, like anything like that. Because when you start thinking in that way, which I guess I should frame this one more around mindset, right? Because when you start thinking in that way, what happens is you actually start working against yourself. Because then it's like, oh, well, why should I put this effort into doing this if I shouldn't even, if it's not even going to work out anyway? Why should I put my effort into, trying to grow this channel or trying to learn how to use my camera better if you know, if I'm not really good at that if I'm not really good at making content anyway, right? So a huge mistake that a lot of people make, and you'll see people talking about this all over the internet, but they won't, like, you won't see it like them saying like, oh, I'm self-sabotaging myself or anything like that. What you'll see is see people saying like, I know this video kind of sucks, but I would love to get your feedback, right? So what you need to do in that situation, you just say, okay, well, if you think that video sucks, instead of looking at it like, well, you know what, I can't really do this, or, you know, I'm really bad at it. You want to be objective, of course, but instead of saying, you know, I suck or I'm bad at it, say, okay, well, if I don't think this is up to par, if I don't think this is up to standards, what is it that I need to do? What skill do I need to develop? What is it that I need to do in order to make it better? Because I can do this. I do deserve to have success on YouTube. I do deserve to get what it is that I'm after. I'm worth it. And all of the other things that come with that. Don't work against yourself, right? Stand on your own confidence, stand on your own abilities to learn how to do this stuff. Because here's the thing. The only difference between what it is that you want versus what it is that you have now in terms of your YouTube channel, or really anything, the only difference between the two things are your effort. One, knowing what it is that you want. Two, is the effort that you put into it. And three, is the amount of time that it takes you to get good enough at it, right? Because you're constantly developing those skills in order to make it work out, right? So it's developing the skills, uploading video after video after video, because here's the thing. You could be one video away from your channel just blowing up. You could be one video away from having one person watch that video. That's like, wow, we've been looking for somebody like this. That gives you an opportunity and opens some door that you didn't even know existed, right? So because of that, it's really important that you give yourself a chance, and that you do put in that effort to make sure that if you legitimately want to grow a YouTube channel, and you legitimately want to do the whole YouTube thing, and you want to do it like professionally, or even as a hobby, you just want more people to see your stuff, then in that situation, it's just filling in the blanks of video content, skill development, time, until you get there. Like there's a lot of people in this chat right now that when I first started on YouTube, they were also on YouTube. And through this process, like we've all had huge gains on our YouTube channels, right? We've all gotten better. We've all gotten better at what it is we do. We've all through time and through more and more and more video content, you know, we've crossed a lot of really big milestones and things like that. And you can be one of those people, right? You just have to commit, develop the skills, give yourself a chance, and think that you can do it, and therefore put the effort into doing it, and then work through the time in order to make it happen, okay? So with all that said, let's get into some questions so I can answer your specific questions. Again, this is through the form down in the description below, so make sure that if you have a question that you want answered, that you put it down in that form so I can make sure that that we can get to so that we can hopefully get to your questions, because they're starting to roll in now, so I just want to make sure that I can get to as many as possible. So the first question is from Beats of the Heart, Lyrics of the Soul. The question is it best to use just one keyword in the title, a mix of high scoring keywords? Does putting quotes on keywords help? Putting quotes on keywords doesn't help. When it comes to using the keyword in the title, here's what I want you to think of. Use the keyword or the keyword phrase in the title. In some cases, you can actually do multiples, to where, depending on how you actually say what it is that you're saying in the title, you can actually target a couple of different things within that same title. But you don't want to actually stuff it with, like, you know, this keyword phrase followed by this keyword phrase. That's not what you want to do. What you want to think of at the highest level is you want to think, okay, I'm targeting this keyword or this keyword phrase, but what I need to make sure that I'm doing is I need to make sure that I'm making it clear for the people that are going to be presented this particular title on thumbnail or on YouTube. So what it is that I'm saying in my title is going to, as well as your video content, is going to give YouTube context to what your video is about, so that they can try to show it to the right people. However, you need to make sure those people respond to it. So one of the things that happens is a lot of people on YouTube, and I've been guilty of this, I've even shared this information a long time ago. A lot of people will only think of the YouTube AI and, hey, what's the perfect structure to get my keywords in here, and, you know, which way, what order I need to make sure my tags are in. But at the end of the day, it comes down to if you can convert a human being or not. If you can get a human being to click on what it is that you're doing, That's what matters more than anything. So you want to use your keywords, you want to use your keyword phrases so that you can show up in search and things like that. But when your video shows up in search, or even when you have that keyword, or when you're using specific words in your title, that can also help you get shown to the right people that are the most likely to click on it anyway. But you just need to make sure that when people see that, it makes sense to them. And this is where knowing who it is that you're making videos for really comes to be extremely important. Because if you know who it is, or the type of person, or the specific group of people that you're making content for, and you know the things that they're into, the things that they're not into, the worries they have, the fears they have, the things that make them laugh, the type of music they like to listen to, the type of music they don't like to listen to, things like that, then that can help you fine tune how you write your titles so that the humans will click on it, as well as having a specific keyword or keyword phrase within your title. So hopefully that answered your question in a way that made sense. Okay, next is Real Life Clean Living. Says, I feel like I don't know how to stay interesting for a live stream. Any advice? I feel like I couldn't do a long live stream. I feel so uninteresting. This is great, because this basically goes on the self-sabotage thing that I was talking about on those mistakes, right? So fantastic question. So here's the thing. When it comes to making live streams interesting, it's not about being interesting per se. It's about you being prepared. Because when you're prepared, then you can keep it moving. Because if you start a live stream, I'm actually doing this right now, right? Contradicting my own advice. So while we're going through this thing where everybody's inside, and if you're not staying inside, you should be. But while we're going through this thing right now where everybody's inside, on another YouTube channel, if you just look for Nimmin, it'll come up. But on another YouTube channel, Facebook, and my Twitter account, which you can follow me there if you want to participate, I'm doing a daily mindfulness meditation live stream. And on that live stream, I'm doing what you shouldn't do. And that is when it starts, I'm talking, right? I'm sharing the information, but I say things like, okay, we're going to give this just a few more minutes to let some more people that want to participate have the opportunity to come into the stream, right? I shouldn't do that. What I should do is I should just keep talking more about meditation, which I'm sliding more towards that now. I just wanted to give people a little bit of space to actually come in for notifications, that sort of thing. But basically, you want to make sure that you are coming in with some kind of plan. So now that I'm repeatedly doing these every single day, what I'm doing is I'm starting to fine tune what it is that I say. And Josephine's actually in those too, so she can vouch for this. But I'm starting to fine tune what it is that I say so there's less hang here and there, right? So what you want to do in order to keep your live streams interesting is, one, go into it with a plan. These are the particular things that I'm going to talk about. If you're doing a gaming live stream, then in that situation, I'm going to do a live stream where I solve a specific thing, or I take people through on a specific journey to solve a specific task in this game. And during that process, they're going to be focused on the game, or they're going to be focused on whatever type of content you make. They're going to be focused on what it is that you're talking about, or what it is that you're sharing. And what you need to do is you just need to make sure on your end that you have a process that you're taking people through, or you have a specific set of information that you're going to be sharing, and you know these are the things that we're going to be talking about. These are the things that we're going to be doing in this live stream. And if you do that, that's going to help you not necessarily be interesting, because you're interesting already. You just don't know it because you're hard on yourself. You're interesting already, but the live stream itself is going to be interesting. The content is going to be interesting because you're going to be taking people through a process. Now, on the thing about you being interesting, so the reason you think that you're uninteresting is because you know exactly what it is that you do every day. You know all of the ins and outs of your personality. You know all the stuff about you. You are hard on yourself. You're extremely self-critical, apparently. So because of that, you are looking at yourself like you're not interesting. But to other people around the world that are going to come into your live stream, they know you and they like you. That's why they're subscribed to your YouTube channel in the first place. So when they get presented to your live stream, they're already into what it is that you're doing and already into you and your content. And then you also have the topics to lean on as well to help, right? So because of that, instead of saying you're not interesting, just say, hey, I'm just going to come on here and be me. I'm not a clown. I'm not trying to stand out here and put on a show per se. Feel free to amplify yourself a little bit, or, do that sort of thing if you want to, but it's not a requirement. Because again, on YouTube, people connect to the personality, right? They connect to the personality, and they connect to the information, or they connect to the information. And you can real easy way to identify, which thing they're connecting to. Like on my channel, there's some people that are into my personality, but a majority, those are people that typically hang out in the live streams. But the majority of people on my channel, they come to my channel for the information. I'm self-aware enough to realize that. So because of that, you know, you have to do that same exact thing, and you have to say, okay, well, what are people getting out of my live stream? And I can make my live stream interesting by not necessarily how I'm acting, but by what it is that I'm taking people through, or the process that I'm taking people through in my live stream. So hopefully that made sense. Next is from Steve McDonald Arts and Crafts. Says, I'm getting just over 50% average view time. Is this normal or is it low? I've stopped putting the final product in the thumbnail so people have to click the video to see the results. This seems to have increased the view time but reduced the number of views. Which should I look to maintain? So what I would recommend is that you use TubeBuddy's A/B testing tool, and you actually run tests, a bunch of tests, so that you can say, okay, here I'm focusing on the end product, here I'm not, and you actually have them bouncing back and forth with the same video title so that you can see which ones are performing better. Feel free to experiment with your titles as well in that same way. And the reason for that is because, you know, like if you have just like a couple of videos that are like that, that's one thing. But if you can prove that on like a bunch of videos, like back to back through A/B testing, then that gives you some like real solid information to work with. But in terms of the 50% view duration, I can't tell you if it's normal or not. And the reason for that is because I don't know how long your videos are. If your videos are, you know, like 10 minutes, then 50% is okay. I actually recently did a presentation at Social Media Marketing World, and give me 1 second and I'll see if I can pull it up quickly. But I did a presentation at Social Media Marketing World where we actually did go over averages. So give me 1 second real quick. Audience retention. And TubeBuddy actually helped me with this information. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to find it fast enough in order to keep this thing moving. Let's see here. Yeah, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do this fast enough in order to keep it moving. But the idea... Oh, there it is. Okay, so when it comes to average view duration, basically videos between 4.5 minutes and 5.5 minutes in length, and again, this is on average, out of 15,000 videos, the average view duration was 2 minutes and 19 seconds, or 46.5%. Videos between 9.5 and 10.5 minutes, and that's 12,000 videos for these, was 3 minutes and 57 seconds, which is 39.5%. And videos between 19.5 minutes and 20.5 minutes, there are only 1,400 videos in this one, so it's not a huge sample size, but the average duration for those were 6 minutes and 44 seconds, or 33.3%. And between 1 minute and 30 seconds and 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 12,000 videos on this one again, a minute and 11 seconds, which is 59% average view duration. So that gives you some actual data to work with based on your video length. So in your case, you didn't say the video length, so I can't say like you know, that's in the red or not, but that gives you a general idea. Next up, we have Venus in retrograde. Says, I was watching a tutorial about adding an end template to videos, but why would you add the same template for each video? Shouldn't it be different ones? So in terms of the template, in terms of the layout itself, with that specific layout, of course, you can import it from previous videos. No problem at all with that. Which videos that you're directing people to, it doesn't always have to be different. But what you do want to make sure that you're considering when it comes to what it is that you're linking to in your end screens and your cards is you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're linking to is relevant to what the viewer is watching at that point in time. So what I mean by that is if somebody comes in and they're watching a video on how to make donuts, then another video that you have in your end screen is more information about making donuts. That's a great fit. If they come in on a video about making donuts, but then in your end screen you have like a vlog that doesn't have anything to do with cooking or recipes or anything like that, then it doesn't make any sense at all to put that in the end screen because the people came in, they have a proven interest in making donuts. So you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're linking to is something that people that have a proven interest in donuts would be likely or the most likely to click on. Does that make sense? Give me a hashtag yes if that makes sense. Rock Climb Grandma says, Nick just made my day. That's good to hear. Love hearing that. Love hearing that. Next up, we've got Katera Kitten says, I've noticed a lot of times the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. What can I do to attract actual subscribers? So here's the thing. So that's kind of like a double-edged sword, I guess. I don't know if that's the right language for it, but basically when it comes to a YouTube channel, in order for a YouTube channel to grow or to grow rapidly, you need to be weighted in the non-subscriber category for your view counts. Because if only the people that were subscribed to your YouTube channel were watching your videos, that means that there's no growth potential there. There's not much growth potential there. So when you have more people that are not subscribed to your videos watching your content, you're actually doing the right thing if you're trying to grow your YouTube channel. Now, of course, you want to make sure that you have a balance. It doesn't need to be 50-50, of course, but you need to make sure that you have some kind of balance to where you're also making content that your audience likes, but then you're also continuing to make that content that keeps pulling in new viewers, because a subscriber can't be converted into a subscriber unless they've unsubscribed, which would make them a non-subscriber, right? But in order to grow your channel in terms of subscriber counts, then in that situation, your videos have to be shown to more people that are not subscribed to your YouTube channel. So because of that, when it's weighted towards non-subscribes, that's what actually can get a channel moving pretty quick in terms of growth related to subscriber counts. Next up, we have the improvement journal. It says, I use TubeBuddy to make videos that it shows me a very good score, but those videos don't get any search traffic or suggested. Should I be using TubeBuddy to make videos for keywords with a good weighted score, or am I doing this wrong? So when it comes to, and I'm actually just working on this for a course that I'm working on right now with TubeBuddy. I actually just covered this today. So basically when it comes to ranking your videos in search, it's important to understand that the best metadata, and metadata when it comes to YouTube is basically your title, your description, and your tags, that the best metadata in the world, and your captions technically, that the best metadata in the world is not going to fix a video that viewers don't enjoy. So what I mean by that is you can have the best keyword score inside of TubeBuddy, and you can use the perfect language in your title. You can use the perfect tags. You can write the perfect description to where YouTube is like, hey, we're gonna try showing this in search results right away, and then they do. But if people aren't clicking on it and they're not watching it or they're not engaging with it, then YouTube is going to quickly start demoting that video from search with every single page load that happens. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that in addition to optimizing your video for search, that you're also making content that performs well in search. And a way that you can find this out is if you go into YouTube and you go into your analytics for a specific video. If you go into the traffic sources for that specific video, then you actually start looking at your click-through rate and the average view duration and the total watch time that you're generating from the search, right? From the search traffic source, instead of looking at it averaged out on the watch time funnel. So what you want to do in that situation is you want to make sure that your content is performing, because one of the things that YouTube tells us that matters when it comes to search, in addition to other things, other mystery things, but what matters to them in YouTube search is the amount of watch time generated per query. And basically in order for you, and by query, basically what I mean by that is if somebody goes to YouTube and they type in how to cook a cake, then in that situation, for all of the people that are typing in how to cook a cake, the videos that are displayed there, which videos are generating the most watch time for every time that page loads for somebody looking for information on how to cook a cake. The videos that are generating the most watch time for every one of those page loads, those are the ones that are going to end up getting the best search positions. Because if people are clicking on it a lot, because you can only get watch time if people are clicking on it, if people are clicking on it a lot and then they're watching those videos for a longer period of time, or a respectable amount of time based on, let's say, the averages that we shared here a little bit ago. But if they're watching your videos for the same amount of time or longer than your competitors, and you're getting more clicks or similar clicks to your competitors, then that gives you a chance to compete for search results. But if people are clicking on your video, they're watching your video for 10 seconds and they're leaving, they're watching your video for a minute and they're leaving, where your competitors, they're making 10-minute videos instead of 4-minute videos. They're making 10-minute videos. Those 10-minute videos are getting, 5 minutes worth of watch time, and you both have a similar click-through rate on your thumbnails and your titles. In that situation, they're going to be generating more watch time per search impression, which therefore will then get them higher search rankings. And then if you want to level that up a bit, then of course, if everything was equal, which it never is, but if everything was equal, if you have the same click-through rate, you have the same amount of watch time that you're generating, then you fall down to, okay, well, how much engagement is this generating? Are people they liking it? Are they giving it a thumbs up, thumbs down? Are they commenting on it? Are they sharing it? Are they adding it to playlists? Like, how much are people like digging this content enough to react to it? And of course they base it on, you know, survey feedback and things like that as well. But like when it comes to search, it's a lot more detailed than just putting, you know, a word or phrase in your title, a word or phrase in your description, word or phrases in your tags, and then publishing your video. It comes down to video performance. If your videos can't perform, or they don't perform, I should say, if your videos don't perform, YouTube's not going to show them to people. Because if people come into your video and they leave, what happens is that shows YouTube in terms, because remember what I talked about before, they just want people to stay on the platform and keep coming back to the platform. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that when people click on your video, that they're satisfied with the content that they're getting. And if they're satisfied with the content that they're getting, then YouTube will continue to show it to more people in search results. Next up is from the Dole Whip Dad. What's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Says, I live stream using StreamYard. I want to level up my streams to OBS or Streamlabs, and most importantly, where should I get trained up using it? Thanks, love all your content. So Dole Whip Dad, I have, if you go to my channel page on my YouTube channel, I'm using Streamlabs right now, by the way. If you go to, not StreamYard, Streamlabs is what I'm using for this, but I'm using StreamYard for my daily meditations. It's awesome also. But on my YouTube channel, I have tutorials, setup tutorials, like how to set up and use OBS, and it's still relevant now. And I have tutorials on how to set up and use Streamlabs. So if you just go to my YouTube channel, go to my videos page, and on my videos page, type in OBS in the search bar on my video page, then the videos that are related to those are going to show up. You might need to put in something like live stream maybe in order for some other stuff to come up, but I also have playlists as well. So if you go to the playlist page, you can also find like an entire playlist of OBS videos and an entire playlist of Streamlabs videos. Glad you're enjoying the content too. Next up, we have LeChat Photography. Says, does the name of the video file you send to YouTube matter? No, it does not. If you look inside of YouTube's code, which I'm not going to tell you how to do that because I don't want to violate any terms of service or anything, but if you look in the code, basically they convert those video titles to like letters and numbers anyway. So they basically turn it into a computational organizational thing that makes sense on their end. Computational organizational. What was that? Like they basically convert it into something that helps their systems organize their content. And that basically strips that title right out of there. So that title's for your purposes, not for theirs. Next up on our list here is, let's see here. Hello host, which is better for chatbot? Is it Bitismo or Nightbot? I've not ever used Botismo, so I'm not sure. Explore Sweet Escape. I wish I could answer the question, but I don't know the answer to, that one. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Alex Parker Bell. Says, how important is keywords, tags, ranking in relation to just making consistent content and adding value? I watched a video from you and Roberto saying asking for subscription is for pros. Would keywording be a pro thing too? So asking for subscriptions isn't, okay. So it's interesting that you got that from that video. So I'm glad you said that. So what we were trying to say in that video is that when it comes to asking for people to subscribe, make sure that you can keep people watching the video for a fair amount of time first. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be trying to add like, hey, you know, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to be adding all of that stuff at the expense of making sure that you have people watching your content for a fair amount of time, making sure that they're getting something out of the content first. So once you can keep people watching your videos for a fair amount of time, then you can start experimenting with, you know, your subscribe call to actions, where you put them in the video and that kind of thing. That's what we meant by that video. But in terms of the keywords, of course, you want to make what you're passionate about. You want to make the videos that you want to make, but you also have to make sure that you're balancing that if you want to grow the channel. You also want to make sure that you're balancing that with what the audience wants from you. And you also have to make sure that you are titling things in a way that give YouTube context, but also that people respond to. So depending on the type of content that you make, because I'm not sure what type of content you have, but depending on the type of content you make, just an outrageous is the wrong word. Just an extremely compelling title might be enough for you. You might not need to use keywords, but depending on the type of content that you make, you might also need to use keywords for almost all the content that you're putting out, depending on the traffic source or traffic sources that you happen to be targeting for your content. So for example, if search traffic is part of your strategy on YouTube, then in that particular case, you need to make sure that you are using keywords. So sure, YouTube's smart enough to know that if you are making a video about a specific thing based on the things that you're saying in your videos and all that, they're smart enough to know what your video is about. And in some cases, they can even put you in search positions to where you didn't even plan for it. However, if you give YouTube context right out of the gate, and you're also giving humans context right out of the gate, then what you're doing there is you're giving yourself a better chance at all of that happening faster and without any confusion on where you should be, and just making sure that you do show up in those particular spots if you're targeting those things. All right. Next on the list here is the Artist's Haven. The Artist's Haven says, how do you amplify keywords and keyword phrases for a live stream? I'm doing a lot of art live streams, especially tonight, where we have multiple artists doing art live. I've searched all kinds of things, but I'm at a loss. Have any ideas? So when it comes to optimizing your live streams for search, the same exact thing applies as if you are optimizing your videos for search. So you want to do the same exact things. You want to make sure that you are including keywords if you are making content to where people would be looking for that type of thing. You want to make sure that you're using keywords that would identify what it is that your video is, that's actually happening in your video, or what it is that your video is about, so that you can give YouTube context, but also so that you can give humans context when YouTube shows it to people on their home pages or when YouTube suggests it to them. So it's not necessarily that you are trying to amplify your keywords or keyword phrases for a live stream, because yes, absolutely, live streams can rank in search while they're live. They can also rank in search before you even go live as well. But it's also important to make sure that you are, like, while you're live, you're going to be hitting home pages and suggested columns as well. And you're going to see more traffic from that than you will from just people looking for a specific thing, unless it's something like trending or something like that that people are just crushing in terms of search traffic. You'll get more traffic from home pages and from the suggested column while you're live if you optimize for humans over, if basically you make your titles around something that humans will respond to over everything, same with your thumbnails, then in that situation, like, you'll pull more from suggested and browse traffic than you will from search. Fly Ride, what's up, dude? Next up on our list here, we have Up Down Level. Says, I'm using TubeBuddy for a year now, Star license, and I learned a lot of stuff provided by you. The problem is when I do research of keywords, all fine for me. I could even rank top, but at the end of the day, it's not in search results. Is it a problem with my channel, or your program isn't working at all? It's a fantastic question. So basically, it comes down, like I was saying before, same exact question somebody else had. It comes down to, in addition to optimizing your video, the video itself has to perform for those terms that you're going after. Because if the video itself isn't performing for those terms, and what I mean is that people need to click on your thumbnails and your titles at a competitive rate compared to the other things that show up in those search results pages. They need to click on your title and thumbnail at a competitive rate compared to everybody else that they have the option to click on. And they also need to interact with your video or watch your video for a competitive amount of time compared to the other videos that are also showing up in search results. Because again, just to restate it, YouTube, one of the things they look at is how much watch time is generated per query and how much engagement is generated per query. They say both of those things. So you want to make sure that you are generating watch time from search, you're generating a fair click-through rate from search, and that you're also generating decent engagement from search as well. And you can find all of that. If you look in your traffic sources, look under search. If you're targeting search, that will give you specific information to how you're performing in search. So you might look at your watch time funnel and you might be like, hey, I got like a 10% click-through rate. And then you go and you look at your traffic sources and you find out that your channel page has like an 8% click-through rate. And then you like in search results, you have like a 1% click-through rate with like hardly any impressions on it. So then you know, okay, well, it looks like I need to work on my thumbnails and titles because people aren't responding to them when they're presented to them in search. Next question is from Wrath of the Commentators. That's like a what is that called? Oh no, I'm thinking like something of Titans. I don't know. Movie. I don't know. I can't remember. Okay. So Wrath of the Commentators says, I upload every day. And I even try to upload 2 videos a day and share my videos on all social media platforms, but I still can't find tractions on gaining new subscribers. What are some tips that can be used to gain subscribers? So subscribers, subscribe to YouTube channels. People, you subscribe to YouTube channels. All of us subscribe to YouTube channels because of what it is that we see in that YouTube channel, or more so like what it is that we get out of that YouTube channel. Example, I love watching Peter McKinnon's content. When I have like my YouTube binges, I watch like Peter McKinnon, Evan Carmichael. I'm watching Cody Wanner a lot right now because he's doing daily vlogs. I'm actually rocking a No Small Creator shirt right now. It's my Superman version of this live stream. But basically, like for the content creators that I watch, for me, it's about like a relatability thing, and it's also about the information that they're sharing. So with Cody, my thing with him, the value that I get from Cody is he's extremely vulnerable with his point of view, and I feel like I can really relate to Cody. And even before I like met and hung out with Cody, like watching his videos, I'm like, I could totally hang out with this dude. And he's a blast. He was exactly like I thought he would be. And like with Peter McKinnon, I've never met him or anything, but like in his situation, like his information is awesome because he's really good at what he does, and he understands like entertainment, and he understands cameras and how to put like an awesome piece of content together. But I like watching his because, one, he blows my mind in some of his tutorials. Like he has a sound design tutorial that is like off the charts. Listen to it with headphones. But anyway, in his situation, the value that I get from him is information plus the personality, because I could totally hang out with him too. Evan Carmichael, with him, I hang out with him at events, and his information that he shares like inspires me. Right. So like if I'm feeling kind of like I don't want to do something that day, if I'm feeling lazy, I'll go watch some Evan Carmichael videos and I'll go see some of the videos to where he's talking about other like successful entrepreneurs, and I'll be like, okay, let's see what you know, Steve Jobs, his 10 tips for success. And then I'll go watch those, and I'll be like, you know what? Yeah. You know what? I like how Steve looked at that. Now I'm fired up. Now I'm going to get some work done. Right? So like that's the value that I get out of it. So if people aren't subscribing to your channel, that means that you haven't been able to make it clear what your value is yet. So as a new content creator, I should have actually put this on the list too. So we'll just do it now since you mentioned it. It's also important to make sure that you are extremely clear about the value that people are getting out of your content, or the intended value, because if you can't identify what it is that people get out of the content that you make, then people aren't going to be able to identify it either. So because of that, it's really important that as a content creator, that you are able to say, yeah, when somebody watches my content, you know, maybe I'm relatable, but they're also getting this, right? And because of that, that will actually help you be able to focus your efforts on making that value clear. And the clear and the most easy that you can make it to understand that, then the more that you're going to be able to generate subscribers on your channel, because you can either tell them through your subscribe call to action, or just through the content that you make itself, or through, you know, little things like your channel art and things like that to, you know, just make it super easy to understand and make it super clear of what it is that you're actually offering on your YouTube channel, in terms of not just I make videos about this, but when you watch my channel, this is what you're going to get out of it, right? So because of that, you really want to make sure that that it's clear, the value. And I also want to remind you that making a lot of content is good, but you also want to make sure that you are making content that people respond to. Because if you're making content just for the sake of putting out a lot of content, like uploading 2 videos per day, if you're not getting a fair click-through rate, and you're not getting a lot of impressions on your videos because you're not getting a good click-through rate, and you're not getting a lot of watch time or engagement, then just putting out a bunch of content isn't going to fix that. Because the content that you're putting out, the same rules apply. It doesn't matter what type of content you make. People have to respond to that content. It's a people-first platform, or viewer-first platform, I should say. So because of that, you have to make sure that the people that are watching your content, that they're getting something out of the content that you have, and that they're enjoying the content, in terms of, you can see in your analytics, people are watching my videos for a fair amount of time. You can see in your analytics, people are clicking on this. It's something that they're actually interested in. And if you can do that, then feel free to upload a lot. But if you're just uploading a bunch for the sake of kind of like, hey, I'm just going to hammer YouTube with all this content and something's going to work. If you're taking that approach, I recommend that you kind of dial it back just a little bit and spend that extra time on making sure that you are using your analytics so that you can identify if you're making effective content or not, in terms of, are people clicking on this and watching it and engaging with it when it's presented to them on YouTube, because that's what matters. If they're not, then you need to go through the process of spending some of that time developing skills, instead of just blanketing YouTube with content that people aren't responding to. All right, next up, our next question here on the list. Says, Nick, if you customize your SEO with TubeBuddy, how long will it take to have an effect or be picked up by the YouTube algorithm? If you change your stuff, as long as people start responding to it, then it can happen like almost immediately. So that's an important thing, Float with me, that you have to understand, is that when you change something on your video, if it's your title, your thumbnail, what matters is how people respond to it. So it's not something to where YouTube is all of a sudden going to be like, oh, well, this has a different title. Let's just show it to, let's put it on every homepage on YouTube. Doesn't work that way. They'll start sampling it just like they do before. And depending on the video, like if it's a dead video and people like didn't watch it for that long and stuff like that, then changing it might not even do anything. But if it is going to do something, it's only going to change within YouTube's algorithms if people respond to it in a different way. So I'm going to say that again. The results that you're getting from your video, if you make any modifications to the metadata or to the thumbnail, the only way that the results that you're getting on YouTube for that specific video can change is if people react differently to it, okay? So whatever it is that you're changing, if people react in a positive way, then it's gonna help that video do better. If people react in a negative way or the same way, then it's either gonna make that video go down, or it's going to just maintain, whatever it is that you're getting on that video in the first place. And that one wasn't from the forum. So I apologize, went off script there a little bit on the forum. Okay, so next up we've got SRT Bull. Says, how much time do you spend on your thumbnails, Nick, specifically? So for me, it depends. I've got some pretty effective templates that I put out there. And because of that, whoa. And we're back. We are back and we are moving forward. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but we're all good now. Okay, so make sure we're still live. We are. Okay, moving forward. Okay, so not the first time I've turned green. Making sure that the stream still stays up. Oh, so much fun. The best part about live streaming is that right there. Okay. So, so the next question we have here, how much time do I spend on my thumbnails? Okay. So when it comes to my thumbnails, yeah, I'm back, right? Oh yeah, it looks like I got hit with an alien blaster. Yeah, that happened before the stream too. I think it's just like a time limit thing maybe on the camera. I'm not sure. But basically when it comes to my thumbnails, I have some templates that I work with. I'll change the templates from time to time. And then based on how people respond to them, I'll keep moving forward with that template or not. So when I'm working on a template, I can spend quite amount of time on a thumbnail. If I'm just adding text to it, to where I'm like, hey, I've got this template with my face and all that, I'm just adding text to it, then in that case, I don't spend much time. Typically maybe like 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes is simply just going, and I'll usually do this before I even make the video, but that's basically just figuring out the actual text that I'm gonna put on the thumbnail in combination with the title that I'm making. So before I make the video, I'll open up a notepad or a Google Doc and I'll write down just a bunch of different ways that I could say what it is that I'm saying in my thumbnail so I can try to minimize it to as few words as possible. And same exact thing with my title. I'll write a bunch of different titles out, like, okay, this is what I'm going after, but how many different ways can I say this? And then I'll write out a bunch of those until I find something that I think like, yeah, I think that's good. I think people will respond to that, and then I'll put it out. Yeah, this is a Andrew. This is a Canon M50. So typically it's fine. So this is just like a thing that's happened this evening. So I don't know if it's because of the software or the interaction with the software, because it seems what happens, it's not the camera, I don't think, because the camera seems fine. What happens is the SparkoCam software that keeps it open, that crashes. So it freezes there. And then when it freezes there, it turns green here. And then when it turns green here, then I have to basically turn my camera off and on, crash the software, open the software back up, and then everything comes back on. No. When it comes to somebody saying here about Sprizzy, any company that offers you views you don't want to use it. The only thing that's safe to use is actual real advertising. So basically, if you're going to advertise your channel, it's important to make sure that you're looking at it from a marketing perspective and that you're advertising in that way, not advertising in terms of I'm going to pay this company and they're going to send me a bunch of views, because it doesn't work that way. Any company, and it's really important that everybody listens to this because it's super important. Any company that tells you that if you give them X amount of dollars, they're going to send you a bunch of views, they are putting you at the risk of losing your YouTube channel, because if YouTube picks up on that, then it's a violation of the terms of service and they can terminate your channel because of it. Also, the views that you're getting from there are from bots, or they're from like not farms, but they're from like people farms, where they have people sitting in like rooms that will basically go and they'll subscribe to channels and open videos, and they're also running software in different browsers and all this stuff. It's all not authentic, and the audience that they're making you think that they're building for you is not a real audience, and those are not people that care anything about your content. Those are not people that are going to respond to your content when it shows up to them on the home pages. So do not ever use a service like that. Okay, next up we've got let's see here. Oh, I just got cut off. Upward Horse Girl says, did D help you when you created your YouTube channel? Does he mind that you grew faster than him from starting this year? So D actually, he just started his YouTube channel. I had like 100 and something subscribers before he started his YouTube channel. So D crossed 80,000 today. But I had 100,000 when he actually came on and started his YouTube channel. Is a little over 100,000, I think. So I started my channel first, but I can tell you that D, my brothers who we're talking about, if you're not familiar with who D is, D did help me in terms of helping me understand like how to edit videos. He taught me like the basics of video editing. And then I kind of took it from there in terms of like, keyframing and stuff like that. But he taught me the basics of video editing. He taught me the basics of video production, because he used to do just like a little bit of commercial stuff for the media company that he had. But basically, he taught me how to use a camera, taught me how to edit videos at a base level as well. Yeah, I definitely didn't start this year. Oh. Yeah, Josephine says that she was here when D started. Yeah, so it's awesome. It's awesome watching D do his thing. He's actually in Mexico right now. Oh man, it happened again. It is the camera. Holy moly, it did it again. Okay, so on that note, I want to thank everybody for hanging out in the live stream. As we can see here, it looks like the universe is trying to have me end this whole thing. But I just want to say, everybody that's been hanging out here in the live stream, I hope that you learned something. I hope that you got something from this live stream. I hope that you are able to take some of these mistakes and that you are able to improve them on your end. I hope this is coming through. Hold on. It looks like it's black over here. Ah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so I hope that you're able to take the information that you learned here, apply it to your YouTube channel. We all, because of what's happening in the world right now, we have a lot of opportunity right now. For those of us that are staying inside and we are doing our social distancing thing, we have a huge opportunity right now to spend some of that extra time for the people that were in school, for the people that, that had to commute to their jobs and things like that. This right now is a fantastic opportunity to say, hey, typically I spend, 30 minutes in a car going to and from work. If you're wanting to get your YouTube channel ramped up, it's a great time to spend that extra hour that you have every day, to spend that time working on, getting your YouTube channel going. If you're typically in school and you're having to school from home, same exact thing from you. Having to hop on the bus and ride the bus and, all that stuff also takes time. That extra time that you have, because you're not doing recess, you're not doing lunch or anything like that anymore. So because of that, also a fantastic time to work on what it is that you want to do on YouTube. Also, just to go ahead and say it for everybody that's hanging out in the stream, for this whole thing, we're going to get through it. We'll be fine. Sucks, but it'll just be a matter of time. But, you know, human beings, we overcome. It's what we do. So just stay inside, stay safe, and, you know, focus on the things that matter to you. And thanks for hanging out. And make sure that you give this video a thumbs up on the way out. And if you haven't subscribed to me yet, you can find me at Nick Nimmin pretty much everywhere on the internet. I have a podcast as well that you are more than welcome to listen to called Comments Over Coffee. And thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you